So guys, welcome to week 9 of the NFL. We are already halfway through the season, and the second half of this season is only going to get better, so let's get right to it. I'm going to be giving you guys my picks for week 9 for my Pro versus Pro lineup, and give you a few tips on helping you build your lineups as well. But before I do that, I'm going to give you a recap of last week. I had a pretty damn good week, and I won my Pro versus Pro with a score of 194.26 against Philly D. So if you bet for me, you're welcome. I plan to win this week as well against JB the Great, so I'll get to my picks in a bit. Also, another thing I did is I got into the NFL touchdown 200K guaranteed. I'm not much of a tournament player. I've never really cared much for them. But for the last 3 weeks, I sure as hell have been caring about them because the payout structures for them have gotten pretty huge. Before the payouts for even first or second place really wouldn't excite me too much, so I wouldn't really worry about plugging in teams because it just wasn't worth it to me. I've always been a hit-to-hit player. I learned how to master that department, and I play a lot of high-stakes games, which reward me very well. So I decided to stick to that. But now with this high payouts here in the tournaments, I'm sure as hell putting in my my time on them now. And after 3 weeks of getting serious on them, I ended up getting not just first place in it, but second and third, and also cashed out on a total of 15 out of those 20 lineups. So I'm pretty much starting to nail down the tournaments as well. I'm going to be using the same strategy I used last week for this week as well. And this week's tournament is going to be even higher payouts. So make sure y'all get in on that one. It's going to be real good. I believe it's this one's going to be a 300K payout. Anyways, if you go down, you can see I cashed out in 15 of these lineups, and I won my high stakes head-to-head matches as well. Pretty much went undefeated on everything. Won all my double ups, got first place on those, and I won the NFL All-Pro with first place as well. So all in all, I had about 60,000 NLC on the line, and I ended up cashing out 188, so about tripled my amount. Couldn't be happier. And I had a goal of 200,000 NLC in profits for this year, but I'm already 20,000 away from nailing that goal, so I might have to raise the stakes now to 300 or 500,000. So we'll see how it goes. Anyways, enough showing off, and let's get to the picks, which is probably why you're all here. Well, anyways, this week's strategy is going to be no different than every week for me. I'm going to be paying down on quarterback, paying up on running backs. I found a lot of value in wide receivers, especially with all the trades that happened this week. And let's get right to it. On quarterback, I decided to pay down. The best value quarterback I was able to find this week, which will allow me to pay up for the rest of the studs, is Ryan Fitzmagic. A lot of people might still not be believing in him. He started out on fire, and last week Winston was sat at the third quarter, and Ryan came in and in just one quarter put up almost 20 fantasy points, 194 yards, 2 pass touchdowns. So in one quarter, he put up 20 points. The guy has proven himself. He's going to be real good this week, even against Carolina. I think it's going to be a shootout game. Ryan Fitzpatrick should be throwing for about 400 yards, multiple touchdowns. I think it's going to be the greatest value quarterback and possibly best quarterback this week, even over Patrick Mahomes. I wouldn't be surprised. So, plugging him in at 5,500. That's my starting quarterback. Running backs, I'm paying up. Of course, Todd Gurley automatically. I'm not even putting any thought into it. He's expensive, but there was too much value. We can easily fit him in. Next, running back, Melvin Gordon is coming off an injury. We don't even know if he's going to be playing or not. But even if he is, he might be limited in his snaps, so I'm not willing to take that risk. I'm skipping him. Christian McCaffrey is interesting against Tampa Bay. He could be up for another great week, but I'm going to be trusting these two guys more. So my next running back is Alvin Kamara, going up against the Rams. Now the Rams have been very good against at stopping the run, but all the running backs that they've gone up against haven't really been top end running backs. So Alvin Kamara might be their first true challenge, and I see Alvin Kamara having another great week here. So, and with all the touches that he gets in the passing game, rushing and red zone looks, I'm putting him in. James Conner against Baltimore. He did me very well last week, but against a tough Baltimore defense, I'm going to be fading him this week. So my third quarterback is going to be Kareem Hunt against Cleveland. I don't see why Kareem Hunt doesn't have another great week here. Puts up maybe a touchdown or two. And pretty safe running back in my opinion. So that's going to be my trio of running backs for this week. I usually always go three running backs in my lineups. And wide receiver, I'm going to go cheap this week. There was just too much value. Of course, the one guy that everybody's going to have, the absolute shock, is Courtland Sutton of Denver with the trade of Demaryius Thomas. This guy is now the number 2 wide receiver for them, and he should be seeing a lot more receptions, a lot more targets, and hopefully a few more touchdowns as well. So he could be up for a 20-point day, and at only 3,900, I'm plugging him in. So Courtland Sutton is my first wide receiver pick for this week. And the other wide receiver that I'm going with, I'm looking for him. There he is. I'm going to go ahead and pair him up with Ryan Fitzpatrick. That's Deshaun Jackson. The reason I'm doing that is because if you look at Deshaun Jackson's productivity while Ryan Fitzpatrick was quarterback at the beginning of the year, he was doing real good. So this tells me Ryan really trusts Jackson and looks his way a lot. He was getting a touchdown in every game there, so I think this might repeat as well here, especially in this shootout game here. Deshaun Jackson could be another great value pick right here. So these are going to be my 2 wide receivers for the week, Courtland Sutton and Deshaun Jackson, which I see both getting at least 10 targets, if not more, this game. And tight end for me this week, the one guy that excites me the most is David Njoku. Now I know a lot of people are probably pissed off at him for that big fat 0 he gave a lot of people last week. Last week I guess was just one of those weeks where just things were not going real good for that offense. There was not too much opportunities, and Njoku just didn't see a single catch to that game. But I seriously don't see another 0 happening again this week. Baker Mayfield likes him a lot. Obviously, he gets a lot of receptions every week, at least 10 targets per week, as well as Jarvis Landry. Jarvis Landry and Njoku are like the 2 main catchers in that team. So I'm going back to the well here, and I'm trusting Njoku. I'm always going to go for those tight ends who are going to be high targeted. utilized in the red zone a lot, and David Njoku is surely that guy. Don't pick those tight ends that hardly get any targets. I want to like Ozuma, for example. If you saw my last week's video, I said stay the hell away from Ozuma. I just didn't trust him because of the very little work he gets, and he's not trusted in the red zone. And that offense has way too many weapons. Why was Andy Dalton gonna choose CJ Ozuma all of a sudden and neglect everyone else? So I just didn't see the value there, but I guess everyone else did just because he was gonna be out there 100% of the time on the field. But that's where a lot of those real bad lineup destroying mistakes are made when you don't really analyze the players that you pick. So David Njoku, plugging him in. I know he's gonna get at least go back to what he's used to. 10 targets, maybe a touchdown, and he should be out for a great week, especially after a big fat 0 last week. There's gonna be some anger there that he didn't get any action last week. He should be more, and also with a new coach as well. So hopefully that offense is now finally stepped up even more now. Hopefully it gets a good boost in every department. So I don't see how that could be a bad thing. Moving on, kicker. The same kicker I get all the time. I don't even think about it. And he is in a very great game this week as well, which adds to the value. Greg Zuerlein against New Orleans. That's going to be a high-scoring game. A lot of touchdowns, field goals. And we know Greg Zuerlein is real good with those 50-plus field goals, which give you 5 points when he nails them. So Greg Zuerlein is a must-have for me this week, just like he is most weeks when healthy. On defense, I know a lot of people are going to be going with the Bears, but for me, without Khalil Mack in that defense or 100% healthy, that Bears defense just isn't worthy of much, really, in my opinion. So I'm going to be fading them for the most part this week. Carolina versus Tampa Bay. If Winston was still with Tampa Bay, if he was a starting quarterback, then yes, Carolina would be my automatic plug and play right now, because Winston gets 4 interceptions per game, so they would have had a field day on him now. But with Fitzpatrick starting now, no, I don't trust Carolina here. The Texans versus Denver, that could be good. But my favorite defense of the week, who I think is going to be the best defense, the Minnesota Vikings against Detroit. I don't see why they don't get a few sacks against Stafford. Maybe keep them low scoring. Some interceptions, sacks, everything. I just see Minnesota getting a little bit of everything here. They're probably going to go off as the best defense for the week, in my opinion. So that's my defense. If you wanted anyone cheaper down here, not too many exciting ones, but maybe the Chargers versus Seattle. This could be probably the best value defense for the week, in my opinion. As you can see, they haven't been too bad on defense. And against Seattle, who seems to be finally finding themselves now. The offense is stepping it up a bit, but we could always see a couple sacks here and some interceptions from the Chargers, who have been stepping it up on defense as of lately. So it could be a great value pick here. Everyone else down here, not too many that excite me. Maybe Tampa Bay goes off and shuts down Carolina out of nowhere. Maybe Cam Newton ends up having that one horrible week of the year and Tampa Bay goes off here. It's possible. You never know. I would only trust that for my tournament lineups though. But if you need extreme value in for your cash lineups, Tampa Bay might be it. If you want to put that much risk on your defense. But other than that, that's my lineup for this week. I really like it. The only thing I'm not too excited about is the fact that I'm leaving $1,100 in salary on the table. Normally, you don't want to leave that much salary behind. It's not a good idea, but I tried to upgrade my positions, my players elsewhere, and I couldn't really find anyone that I would prefer over this guy that I actually had. If I did, I would have to cut Ryan Fitzpatrick and put Cam Newton. That would leave me with 0. But Cam Newton's good and all, but I just see Fitzpatrick having a better week, so I'm just going with Fitzpatrick this week. The tight end I would have upgraded to Kelsey, but I couldn't get up to that salary, so I wasn't able to fit him in, so I stuck to Njoku, and I'm leaving that 1,100 on the table. I know it's a lot to leave behind, but when you just can't find anything better to replace your players with, it's not worth the risk of just for the sake of lowering your salary. So if you're real happy with your lineup the way it is, just forget about the remaining salary you're leaving behind and just go with it. So that's my lineup for this week. I believe JB has not put up his lineup yet, so I won't be giving my opinions on his lineup. So I have already plugged in this team. Go ahead and put up your bets once he plugs in his team, and I'm looking for another big week again. So if you want to win big like you did last week, then bet for me again and I'll make it happen again. So anyways, I'm gonna end it here. Week 9 of the NFL. Get your bets in. See y'all later.
Okay, let's do this fucking shit.